Chapter 7. Roxy resented the fact that Bellamy was pushing her out of her own house. Okay, so not exactly her house anymore, and no, she didn't live there, but she did own it. Go on and get yourself some lunch, maybe in town, Bellamy said. I've got things covered here. Roxy resisted one more time, folding her arms as Bellamy tried to nudge her out the door. I behaved, she protested. Bellamy nodded, not letting up. Considering Tag Turner showed up on your doorstep, yes, you did. But considering how you treated guests of the ROC, no, you did not. Go to town, cool off. I don't need you back here, so there's no reason to be here and let him twist you all up. Roxy stepped out onto the porch. I am not all twisted. Bellamy arched an eyebrow but didn't respond. Tag will always talk up the ROC because you own it, but his manager, Bo, and his assistant and intern, they don't know your history. Maybe Bo does. He sort of looked like he might. She waved away that consideration. But the others don't, and they don't know why the owner acted like someone had left manure on the front porch when someone as big as Taggart Dubois just crossed the threshold. Roxy blew out a breath. Bellamy was right. Had anyone other than Tag showed up, she would have bent over backward. She still should have, for his entourage if nothing else. She'd posted that sweet comment on his Facebook page, hadn't she? She could do the same here. Show people, especially people in this town, that the song meant nothing, that Tag showing up here meant nothing. All right, I'm sorry. Bellamy's shoulders relaxed. Good girl. I don't think I'm going to make it through this month, not with the new season of The Catch not starting until October. Roxy scowled. Watching a famous athlete work his way through dating 8 women on the popular TV show was one of Roxy's biggest stress relievers, and after everything with Tag, she could use a reminder that someone's life was far more dramatic than the crazy world she'd dropped into since Tag's concert in July. Just think, you're gonna deserve the reward. Bellamy grinned and side-hugged Roxy as they headed for the door. Watch Dan Jackson's season. You know you'll love it and it will make you feel better. Excellent idea. Bellamy laughed and waved as Roxy headed around the building to her truck parked at the back. Her house was only a quarter mile down the road, but she hadn't wanted to walk up this morning when she'd come to help Bellamy prepare. So who is it? A low voice asked, making Roxy nearly jump out of her shoes. Nash, she cried, putting her hand to her heart. You nearly gave me a heart attack. She grabbed his hand and yanked him around the back of the building before one of Tag's people saw him. They'd promised not to allow other people besides employees on the property during the weeks they were here. You're not supposed to be here, she scolded him. Nash's eyes brightened. So it's someone who's a big deal? Like really big deal? She let out a giggle. Oh, it felt good not to clench her fists and swallow back accusations after the last 20 minutes. She let Nash's excitement relax her. You know I'm not supposed to talk about it. What if I guess? Was Bellamy right? One of the Hemsworths? He rubbed his hands together, trying to peer around the corner she'd just pulled him around. Roxy glanced up at the windows above her. Tag's room, her old room, was just above them. Sure enough, the curtains shifted when she looked up. She pressed her lips together. Would Tag tell his manager? He had every right to demand Nash leave the property. It was in the contract. Only employees of the ROC and AA ranches were allowed, and every single one had to sign a non-disclosure statement, including Roxy. Nash might be her boyfriend, but she wouldn't put it past Tag to have him banished from the property to clear the way for himself, at least in his mind. It's Tag, she said in a dry voice. The excited glow to Nash's expression extinguished like someone had thrown a wet blanket over a campfire. Are you kidding? The unease that had threaded through her the night of the concert came back, reminding her how hurt Nash had been over Tag's actions. He says he wanted to write his new album in his hometown, and the ranch house is the only place that he could keep people away or something. She took hold of Nash's tie. He was wearing a dress shirt today, and pulled him down to her. Lucky for me, I don't need to work every day at the ranch house, and I don't have to see him. She smiled reassuringly at her boyfriend and then kissed him. That would show Tag if he was still spying. I'll see you as much as I need to. She made the voice whiny in her head. Get a load of this, Tag Turner. When Nash pulled away, he scrutinized her, and heat radiated out of her cheeks. Had he somehow read her mind and known the reason she'd chosen to kiss him right then? He didn't glance up at the window, so probably not, but shame pounded through her anyway. What was she doing? You're worried you're going to fall for his charm? Nash squinted down at her, the same hesitancy coming over his expression as the night she'd ran away from the concert. Of course not. It didn't matter what nonsense Tag came up with while he was here. Roxy's heart was with Nash in Little River, and it would stay there. Then why are you running away so hard? Nash pulled back and scrubbed a hand through his hair. Why not treat him like any other guest, Rox? I would, but I'm sure he plans to use this as an opportunity to win me back. Doesn't that bother you? She drew in a long breath, trying to sound indifferent about the whole thing. Why did Tag have to keep shaking things up for her? Why couldn't he just let her live the nice life she'd mapped out for herself? Instead, he had to stress her out with worries about how this would affect her relationship and how to make sure Nash knew how much she loved him. Nash shook his head, frustration pulling at his frown. It does, but only because you're acting like if you don't steer clear of him, you're in danger of falling for it. His expression was so sad, it made Roxy lean forward toward him and grab his hands. This is not you, he said, confusion lacing his tone. Is this all such a big deal to you that you can't let it go? The concert stuff, avoiding his songs and hurrying by that video anytime it shows up in your feed? I've always avoided his songs, she thought, but now wasn't a good time to bring that up. Nothing is going on with me. I'm just surprised and unsettled. It'll be fine. Nash pulled his hands back and then put them in his pockets. You remember how I dated Addie in high school? Roxy scowled. Of course. But Nash didn't even smirk like he usually did if Roxy's jealousy reared because Addie's name came up for some reason. Sometimes things are awkward when we go to the diner and she's working, but I don't get up and run out of the room or avoid the diner at all costs because she might try and get back together. She does bring extra whipped cream every time you order the pancakes. It was petty, but Roxy needed some leverage here. Nash gave a dry snort of laughter. You're overthinking this so much. I don't know what to make of it. Tag's words came flooding back to her. Why does it matter so much if Nash matters so much? What are you saying? He gave a shrug and a small smile that reeked of uncertainty. He leaned in and kissed her cheek. It's worrying me that you're putting so much effort into running away from him. He turned and walked toward his Jeep, parked next to her truck. Hey, want to have lunch? She asked. He grimaced. I used my lunch hour to come out here. I'll see you tonight. He waved and got in, pulling around the ranch house and onto the country road that led to the highway and into town. She slumped against her truck and thought about what Nash had said. Stop running away from Tag. She could do that. This was going to be a long 3 weeks.